Okay, on number 6, I'll show you the right way and I guess the way that you can just use your calculator to answer this one. In the triangle below, one of the three angles is sine inverse of 1/3. Okay, so you might ask yourself the question, which angle, if I take the sine of it, will equal 1/3? What that statement means that I underline there is that some angle, if I take the sine of it, I get 1/3. Right? And the only angle for which that makes sense is this one right here, the little angle, because sine of that angle would be 2/6, which equals 1/3. Now the question wants to know, what is tangent of that same angle? They just want to know, what is tangent of theta? Okay. Well, now that we know which angle they're actually talking about, tangent of theta is going to be 2/4√2. Okay, opposite over the adjacent. Is that an option? 2/4√2? Yes, that would be C. Doesn't look like we simplified it, but that is the answer. The other way that you could answer this is by typing in this part right here. You could just type that into the calculator and it's going to give you some decimal answer. Tangent of sine inverse of 1 divided by 3 gives us 0.35355 and a bunch of other change. And then if you come down here to these answer options, this one right here, I'm just going to confirm it on my calculator, but it will also give you that same nasty decimal. Okay. Now number 7, it's not as simple to use that trick on it. You still can, but I'll work it out the right way and then use the trick. It's kind of difficult to use the trick though. All right, so what we're going to do here, we need to realize that this means some angle. Cosine inverse of x/2 is representing an angle where the cosine of that angle is x/2. So there's some angle so that when you take the cosine of it, you get x/2. All right, we're just going to build a right triangle where that happens. Okay, we'll say this is x and this is 2. So the angle that we're talking about would have to be right here. Cosine of that angle is x/2. We would need to use the Pythagorean theorem to figure out this missing leg. So we'll do that real quick. It's going to be the square root. I'll just write it. It's going to be the square root of 2 squared minus x squared. Okay, you would do the 2 squared and then the x squared, and then you'd have to move one leg over to the other side and then take the square root. So this will end up being what you get if you applied the Pythagorean theorem there. Okay, so now that we have our triangle set up, it's pretty easy to tell what tangent of this same angle is. Tangent would be opposite over the adjacent. So it's going to be option A. Option A. Okay, now I'll show you the trick. What you can do to answer this, you have to be kind of choosy with what numbers you pick for x. X is going to have to be, let's see here, it's going to have to be between -2 and 2. Yeah, so there's only certain numbers, there's only certain things that you can do cosine inverse of. So right here, I'm going to let x, I'm going to pretend that x is equal to 1 so that I can do cosine inverse of 1/2. All right, I'm plugging in 1 for that x up there. All right, and if I take my calculator and do tangent of cosine inverse of 1/2, it's going to give me some decimal. It's going to give 1.73205. But then you would have to come down to each one of these answer options and also plug in 1. Okay? And that's the idea. If you plug in 1 on option A, it's going to match. Okay? But there's certain numbers that you can't plug in for X, like say 3. All right? Because you can't do cosine inverse of 3/2. It's undefined. All right? Let's see. Do we have time for one more here? Yeah, we'll go ahead and do number 8. What is the angle of inclination for each line? Okay, so when you have a line that has positive slope, the angle of inclination is just tangent inverse of whatever the slope is. So for this one right here, because the slope is positive, I would do tan inverse of 2/3, and this is going to give me that angle of inclination. Comes out to 33.69. Okay, on this first one, you need to put it in slope-intercept form first. So move that 3x over, and you'll get y equals negative 3x plus 5. When your when your slope is negative, when you've got negative slope, it's the same formula. All right, you're going to do tan inverse of the slope, but you're going to have to add on an extra 180. Okay, so we're going to do tan inverse of negative 3, and then whatever answer that is, we'll plus 180. Tan inverse of negative 3 is negative 71.56 plus 180, and you get 108 degrees. Okay, that's good for this one.